6:30. We have a quorum. We'll call the planning board meeting to order. For those in attendance for the planning board are Joe Zagrodnik, myself, Jim Maximowski, Bill Dwyer, and Mark Dunn. And I don't see Matt Waldrop on there. So
I don't see him either.
there's four of us out of the five. And first up for general information, Mr. Dwyer.
Just let me update my list here
Okay.
of who's coming in. First up, we have, I think there are three people together on the same project. Desiree Govitz, Brittany Fernandez, and I'm going to mispronounce Sarai Martinez.
That's correct.
You're all for the same company, so I assume you're here for the same thing.
Correct. Yes. So is Jason Melanson. We're all here for Walmart.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're up. Go ahead.
I'm going to let Desiree speak on this one. She's our permitter on this. Desiree, do you want to tell them what we want to do?
Yes, thank you so much for having us here tonight, gentlemen. Basically, what Mr. Dwyer and I had previously discussed was a waiver request. We are doing a signage changes at the Walmart there in Hadley. Basically, what we are doing is adding on 2 more signs than are there currently. One is a pharmacy sign, and the other one is a grocery and home sign.
Would you like to share your screen and show us what you're talking about?
Yeah, give me just a second here.
I have it up. I can pull it up if you want.
That would be great, Jason. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason. So yes, this is our proposal for the Hadley Walmart. As you can see, we have added the blue, the grocery and home, and the pharmacy signs, as well as changed up the Walmart and Spark signs. So we wanted to present this to you tonight for your consideration. Either we request for a waiver from a full planning board a review, or we request to move forward with the next planning review meeting so that we can request a waiver for the signage.
Okay. Now, what signage is existing today?
If Jason, do you have the as-built up currently? So this is the existing signage right now. Where we're looking to put the grocery and home is just the Walmart and Spark. And then we have the pickup and Spark where we're wanting to put the new Walmart and Spark. And then on the left side of the building, there is an additional Walmart and Spark.
So you're going to keep the signage on the left side of the building, am I correct?
Kind of. We're removing the Spark. It'll just say Walmart.
Yep. It'll just say Walmart.
Okay. And on the front of the building, you're going to over the main doorway, you're going to just simply change it to grocery or whatever it says.
Correct.
Grocery and home, and just the new Walmart sign with the starburst or whatever you call it. That's a new sign. Is that correct?
No, that's what's currently over the main entrance right now. We are just going to be moving it.
Well, what I'm saying is you have a sign over the main entrance today.
Correct.
And you're simply going to change the wording to grocery and home.
Correct.
And so the Walmart sign to the left of that with the starburst is a new sign on the building.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You exceed this allowable sign already on the building so that the new Walmart sign would not be permitted under the current zoning.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we would not be able to have a waiver. We would have to move forward with a full planning board review, correct?
No, it's irrelevant. The planning board does not have authority to grant the signs that you request, irrespective of a simple waiver that we have today or a full site plan approval, that the square footage that you propose for signage exceeds the allowable by our zone bylaw, and we cannot give you approval to put that much signage on the building.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for the clarification.
So you could put the Walmart above your grocery and home and probably get away with it, but to have a separate sign that says Walmart would not be permitted.
Okay.
So technically speaking, the square footage is actually going down on the overall building because of the removal of a few signs and the way that they're spaced. But is it the number of signs on the building that is also a problem?
Well, you're allowed up to 4 signs on the building, not to exceed 64 square feet in total. Your
Okay.
signage on the building already exceeds 64 square feet in total. I believe when Walmart was put in, you were granted a zoning variance by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Since that approval exceeds the 64 square feet, that's whatever you have today is the maximum allowable signage you can put up.
Would we be allowed to pursue another zoning board of approval?
You are free to request a zoning variance again. However, the planning board we've got a little bit of a story here so that you understand. We're not trying to be mean. We're trying to tell you what the town has told us. A number of years ago, we have tried at least twice to allow businesses to put up more than a 64 square foot of signage on a building because you're set so far from the road. And in both times, the townspeople at town meeting did not even give us a majority vote. And a town needs a 2/3 majority vote to change a zone bylaw. And because we weren't even close, the town has pretty much given us a direction that they do not want to increase signages on a building. So anybody that goes to the zoning board for a variance, the planning board goes and speaks against it, typically, because that's what the direction we've given from the town. And there have been very few sign variances granted in the last maybe 10 or 12 years. For grant a variance, you need to show hardship. Something about the topography of the land, the shape of the land, or the property. Financial does not count as a hardship.
Right. So just so I make sure I'm clear. So because we have an existing variance, if we stay at or under the current square footage and number of signs of the existing variance, are we allowed to proceed with replacing signage as long as the number and the square footage remain existing at the existing level or lower?
I'm not sure how your variance reads, so I don't dare give you an answer on that, yes or no.
Okay. So even if we wanted to go back with just one Walmart sign, one pickup sign, and then the Walmart sign on the side, we still might not get that variance unless we're grandfathered into our existing variance by the wording.
That is correct.
Okay. Does anybody know where we can get a copy of that variance aside from Walmart?
For tomorrow, why don't you contact Kayla Labrille at Town Hall? She is the land use coordinator. She has access to the ZBA files as well as the planning board files.
Okay. Thank you.
Email. Hi, this is Kayla. My email is conservation@hadleyma.gov if you want to get in touch with me. I won't be in the office for the rest of the week, but I could get around to it next week.
I'll send you an email. Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys.
Like I said, no, we're not trying to be mean. We've been given direction for the town, and we're just enforcing what we have been basically directed to do.
No, don't worry about that. We're not worried about that. We just want to make sure we're relaying information properly to our client. So that's all I was trying to get clarification on.
Yeah. And thank you very much for chatting with us tonight about this. I'm glad that we were able to get clarification.
Okay, you're welcome.
Next up, I have Tim Watson.
I wasn't looking to speak tonight. I'm merely a participant. So if I click to speak, my fault.
Nope, that's fine.
That's fine.
I just log people as they show up. I also have, or had, a 914 area code, but I don't see that on the list, so get that out of there. Dr. Parmar is here for public hearing. Mark Wagner.
I'm just here to listen.
Mark Wagner's here to listen. Dan Hester is with the owners of the mall. So I think he's just here to listen. Marcus is with the coffee shop. And I have just something listed as iPhone. And I don't know if you wanted to talk to the planning board.
Or are you just here to listen as well? No comment. Okay. Mr. Quinlan, do you have anything for us or just listening?
Thank you. I can't get my camera to work. I did want to ask, since we don't have our meetings anymore, on the ADUs, if you've heard anything from the AG, from the Attorney General.
No, they've extended our approval out to what is it, Bill?
I forget. They gave themselves another 90-day extension.
Evidently, they've been inundated with that particular zone bylaw because they've reviewed a few, but they keep putting it off because they're extremely busy with that particular topic, Tom.
Okay, because we have one that's waiting for fire review, that's got to go through it, or do we have the right to hold it for this? Is it going to be, retroactive, whatever you want to call it, or do I have to worry anything about it?
Well, if it's approved, it would be retroactive to the first date of publication in the newspaper, which would mean they would have to comply. I don't have an answer to that as far as how long you can hold it, because we're waiting for state attorney general approval. It kind of puts us all into a bit of a bind. I mean, are they compliant with it in general?
No, because the access, it's going to be up to Mike, Chief Spanknable, what he wants for the access. They want to, they're willing to do a gravel driveway, so I guess they'd be pretty close. But the electrical will be, well, they're waiting to hear from Paul, the electrician is. And it's sewer. It is on North Maple, so it'll be sewer. And they're thinking of putting a Y somewhere, so they don't have to go into the road again. And then it'll be what I believe they're still going to have to do the water, as director said, direct, because of the regulations that he has.
Okay.
So otherwise, they're meeting everything as far as the state and building code.
Okay. All right.
So I do have two more people on my list. I didn't see him down at the Mitchell Markey.
Yes, I'm here with Manraj Palmer, listening to that.
Okay. All right. So be up for that. And Jesse Moreno.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening into the meeting.
Okay. Then I don't think I have missed anyone who has questions for the planning board. And it being 6:45.
We can continue the public hearings. I guess we'll hit first of all would be the continuation of the 132 Russell Street for the used car lot. Do they have the information for us today?
I don't think anyone's here for that.
Well, then I guess we'll have to we'll wait till the end of the here. We'll continue on with the other one then. And if nobody shows up, we'll have to continue it. Okay, I'll read the legal notice as it appeared in the Daily Hampshire Gazette. The Hadley Planning Board will conduct a Zoom public hearing on Tuesday, May 6, 2025, beginning at 6:45 p.m. Purpose of the hearing is to review the application of Scar Properties LLC for special permits, site plan approval, and business use in Aquifer to construct a 7-brew coffee shop at 347 Russell Street of approximately 800 square feet, Plans are available by emailing planning@hadleyma.gov or visit town clerk's office during business hours. Published twice in the Gazette, April 21 and 28. And with that, you can make a presentation of what you'd like to do.
Actually, can I just make one correction?
Yes.
In this case, so if you get to the right screen. Okay, do you see the application here?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, the applicant is Drive-Through Brew.
Okay.
Car Properties is the owner of the site.
Did I distract her?
Including the Jiffy Lube.
Okay.
So just for clarity.
Yeah, but it still is for a 7 Brew coffee shop.
Still for a 7 Brew coffee shop.
Correct. Okay. Minor correction. Sorry about that. Who would like to present?
Good evening. My name is Marcus Puddock. I'm a professional civil engineer. Here to represent Manraj, who is the owner, who is also with us, and Mitch, who is the owner of the property, or representing the owner of the property for the Jiffy Lube. I will share my screen, which has the plans. So good evening. This is a proposal for on Russell Street, in the same plaza as the Walmart, or adjacent to the plaza that between Russell Street and the Walmart in Hadley. So our main source access to this site is through the main driveway off of Russell Street that serves the larger plaza, with a right to pass and repass to this parcel, which is part of the Jiffy Lube parcel. So we will be removing a little bit of the pavement from the Jiffy Lube and shifting the existing dumpster enclosure area over.
Could you make that a little bit larger, please, so we can see it better?
Absolutely.
I was going to say that. Thank you.
There we go. So I just to get the larger layout, Russell Street at the top, the driveway in the main access way with the lighted intersection is here at the corner. We enter in, there is a one-way drive in, and this is a 2-lane driveway for the main parking lot within the plaza that contains also Walmart. So our proposal is to, as I said, remove a little bit of the pavement that is associated with the current Jiffy Lube, maintain a 2-way driveway in and out of the Jiffy Lube, with a curbed island 5 feet wide between the Jiffy Lube and the proposed 7 Brew. That just allows that differentiation between and sort of makes the two businesses separate. We have a one-way in to enter our drive aisle, which then splits at the back into 2 drive aisles. This is a business that does not have a drive-up window in any way. They have employees that stand out in the parking lot, or they stand on the sidewalk or in this blue painted area, which we understand we will paint white because Massachusetts doesn't allow the blue paint, which is fine. So we will correct that on these plans. But so they have greeters essentially that take your order. They come out with an iPad and speak to you in person, help you place your order, take your credit card payment if that's the way you're paying. If not, when you pull up and purchase your and stop at the stop bars to actually collect your drink. You can pay with cash if that's your choice. That is a separate person that then comes out from within the building and brings you your drink. So there are several people that you will interact with as you make your way through the business and through their drive-through aisles. There's no window. There's a menu board, but there's no like speaker to talk to or anything. It's an actual person. This is all an interactive, person-driven business that we want to create an experience that makes you happy and you enjoy seeing a person with a smile, and getting a drink quickly and get on your way. The longest the average, I should say, is 2.5 minutes from entering to getting a drink and going, or from ordering and getting your drink and going. So that this is a fast business, and that's why we have 2 lanes to get people in, get people out, and get them on their way, so that we don't create large queuing in any way. We have a few parking spaces associated with the Severn Brew, essentially for employees. There's no intention to have folks park, customers park and walk up to the business in any way. That's not their model. Their model is to just drive up with a car, get your drink, and go. So we have a layout plan that shows the drive aisles and how they function, the additional parking and a proposed dumpster that's enclosed. If I move on to the next plan, you can see how some of the queuing and traffic movement occurs. We've shown how a vehicle can come and collect the dumpster, empty those out, back up and go away without interacting with the vehicles that if a vehicle happened to be parked. Of course, we have control of that, so we can organize when those dumpsters come and make sure that they come at a time that doesn't conflict with major traffic in any way. Obviously, they want their customers to have a good experience when they come here. Trying to, deal with trash removal and whatnot is not a good experience. So they would schedule those either very early or later in the evening. As we move through, this is a bit of a landscape plan. The landscaping is primarily lawn and some bushes and screening around the proposed dumpster, and then some decorative stone and decorative grasses in between the 2 businesses to create that separation, but to not make a hard barrier in between the 2 businesses. We have a lighting plan that shows the lumen levels for lighting that in order to, I apologize, demonstrate that the lumen levels, the lighting level in and around the building. Most of the lighting is down lights that are located within the canopy to light the area in which the employees and cars are. There's also a pole light to illuminate the dumpster so that employees are safe as they put trash out in the evenings and that, especially in the winter when it gets dark somewhat earlier. Grading plan and utilities. So there is some existing stormwater drainage. There's an existing catch basin in the Jiffy Lube parking lot, which connects to the existing system within the larger plaza adjacent. We are going to continue that line, capturing essentially stormwater from the Jiffy Lube area and from the same existing areas that are paved and hard surfaces now. And that will continue to flow as it exists today. And then we have the collection of all of the roof and pavement associated with the Seven Brew and its drive aisles and its parking lot into an underground stormwater catchment, which is sized to manage all of the storms up to a 100-year storm, with some minor overflow for the 100-year storm out to a level spreader, riprap splash energy dissipator to the side, which then will allow it to spread out and flow through the natural landscape down towards the stream that comes under Russell Street and continues away from our site to the west rather. That's the bulk of my. Obviously, we have a plan for soil erosion sediment controls. A construction entrance, standard silt sacks, hay bales, and whatnot that'll be installed prior to any construction or any tree removal, and maintained throughout the construction to avoid and mitigate any type of erosion into either the main plaza parking lot or in towards the stream. So that's the bulk of the plan for the site. I'm happy to show. This is a small building with a smaller outbuilding, so the 525-ish square foot main building, which has no area within it for customers. It's simply a service area for employees with a bathroom, and all of the things they need to prepare drinks, and then a separate smaller storage building with a cooler inside for storage of both dry goods and the drinks that they serve. All of these essentially, all the buildings are essentially similar. They are a modular building that is built off-site and brought to the site in three pieces. So you have the smaller cooler piece, you have the main level of the building, and then what they call the muffin top, which is a smaller piece with some additional dry goods storage above and access to some of the utilities, air conditioners, things like that are on top of the building, as well as a location for some advertising on the front and on the sides. We understand there are limits to the sizing of the advertising and how much advertising there might be on the building, and we intend to fully comply. The owners have a national sign company that will be preparing those and ensuring that they meet all of your standards and prior to the application for those signs to be installed on the building. I've feel like I've gotten through a lot of information, and there might be some questions, and it may spur some additional conversation. But I'm happy to answer any additional questions or initial questions if there are any.
We haven't put this through a peer review, have we? Yet?
We are in the process of getting a peer review. I've asked for one, and I have an engineer that is working on one, but they do not have that peer review prepared today that I can offer to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So and certainly it will need to have a peer review for the conservation, which we have also not gone before as of yet.
Okay. Just a quick question. I mean, a little bit off the topic. You said that a blue lines are not permitted in the parking or as a directional.
I'm told that Massachusetts does not allow for this painted stop bar and whatnot to be other colors other than white. I
never knew that.
I did not either, but I'm told it's a Massachusetts rule. And so in one of the other locations that we are working on in Massachusetts, that's what they told us. And so I assume they are not telling me tall tales. And if it's required to be white, we will certainly paint it white. We prefer the blue and the red simply as a safety feature for us. We feel like the blue allows it to stand out and allows our employees to have a spot to stand that stands out. And the red, obviously, at the stop bar is very very easy to see. But based on the information I've received, Massachusetts doesn't allow that. So if that is indeed the case, we will paint it white.
Okay, I mean, that's beyond our control, but I never knew that. That's interesting. Thank you. Learn something new all the time.
Yeah.
So
is there any freestanding signage?
I guess, thank you for reminding me. So there is an existing freestanding sign for the Jiffy Lube that we would like to move over, simply move it from where it is now over to this 5-foot grassed island. And we hope to include the Seven Brew logo on it as well, obviously complying with current regulations. It's our understanding it can't be lit, and it still needs to meet the sizing requirements. But yes, we would like a freestanding sign, pylon sign.
And likewise, you understand that the signage on the building can only be externally illuminated.
Or halo lit, right?
Or halo lit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a very thorough presentation, Marcus, and evidently you did read our bylaws, so you pretty much hit everything on that we were looking at. My concern is the access. I'm sure you have an agreement with Mountain Farms Mall about the exits, the driveways, and the potential traffic in that area.
So there is
because this is not a subdivision. In fact, it appears as if it's a subdivision road going in.
These are existing parcels, and from what I read in the deeds and whatnot, they have the right to pass and repass through the mall's parcel. And so we tried to limit all of our access points to sort of the existing cluster, if you will, that exists today. It's a fairly wide open opening there, existing today. We've tried to narrow some of the access points down to make the traffic more orderly, if you will. We do intend to have signage here that sort of indicates to folks that the drive-through is on that side and the Jiffy Lube is on the other. Additionally, we have stop signs coming out of the Jiffy Lube with a stop bar and a stop sign and stop bar for both our parking and our exit from our drive-through lanes to head back out into the plaza parking lot. This is at the upper end of of the plaza. While there is traffic through these aisles, they do tend to, from my experience, and I will grant you it's not extensive experience, but I've been there several times, and it seems like this upper line doesn't get quite as much traffic as the remaining bulk of the parking lot does.
That can be a very congested spot, because that's one of the primary connectors to the exit. And on a busy day, traffic is backed up beyond people trying to exit. They'd be heading east on the
So down through
Circuit Road. People trying to exit are held up at the traffic light, which is about where your hand pointer is.
Yeah.
Traffic sign. There's a stop sign there. It's a four-way stop, and traffic is often backed up fairly substantially there, especially on a weekend day.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's sort of a business call within the, we're not protecting the inside of the mall from bad traffic decisions as long as they're not causing injury risks. So there's a lot of in and out at what can be a very busy spot. But unfortunately, everybody's moving at pretty slow speeds in there.
They should be, at least. We hope they are. And to be blunt, the traffic and folks already being there is the reason that Seven Brew wants to be here. They want locations that have a lot of action, that have a lot of folks already there who might think, hey, I'd like a drink and I'd like it quickly. So that's part of the appeal of this location, is that there is a lot of pass-by traffic, and there's a lot of traffic in and out of the plaza to Walmart and the other businesses that are there.
So
I would like to try and be a good neighbor and make it as orderly as we can. And if there are any.
So have you been in contact with the fire department about this? I know you did some turning movement analysis or some truck radius analysis on an earlier sheet.
I have not.
Okay.
Admittedly, I have not. It's a very small building that we feel like could the fire department can get to fairly easy, but it's also a very small footprint that allows them to fight a fire quite readily. So we certainly be happy to contact them and get any feedback if it's.
You would please contact Fire Chief Mike Spankenable, because fire department, fire access is safety access is certainly important. Fire is one of them, and there have been more than one place located in Hadley that they put the driveway in, and the fire trucks cannot drive around the building. And I know this is a small building, but we would appreciate if you would have him take a look at it and simply get his comments.
Can you repeat his name, please?
Mike Spankenable, SP. Oh, it's a mouthful.
I'll look it up on his website, but it's
he is the fire chief.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in case there's any problem, his wife is the town clerk in the town hall. So
okay, that makes it easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a tangential question. You serving anything else except coffee?
Well, so I guess that's a good one. And Manraj, I think I'd like to introduce you and have you sort of go over some of that, because that's sort of up your alley.
Yes, we do serve a lot more. One of our taglines is that we can do 20,000 different drink combinations. So we do coffees, teas, shakes, fruit shakes, smoothies, energy drinks, lemonades. So there's things for kids without caffeine, and then there's caffeine for the adults in various forms as well.
Do you serve any foods or like donuts or biscuits or any of that stuff for Danish?
We don't do any food. It's beverage only. The only thing we do have are muffin tops. But 99.99% of our business is drinks.
Okay. Okay.
I'm concerned about the congestion, that it's going to be a vehicular headache there. You've got 3 entrances and 3 exits in what looks like about 90 feet of frontage with very little separation to speak of. And you've already said you've got people that are in a hurry who want to get in and out. Yeah, it would be really nice if it could be a separate entrance from the Jiffy Lube.
I understand your concern, Mark, but I'm not really sure because it's internal and
Yeah.
it's private roads that, if they have congestion, it's going to be something that is going to affect their business. Because really the only other option is to put it directly on Route 9, which we don't want because of the
Right.
intersection,
Right.
200 yards up the road. So it like Bill said, it's a business decision on their part, and unless there's a turns out to be a safety issue down the road, it's like, well, they want visibility and traffic. Well, you're
Yeah.
right, they're going to get it.
I'd just like to comment, as the owner of the Jiffy Lube and the owner of this property. We have had discussions about this issue together with Seven Brew. The access is difficult. Mr. Dunn, you're absolutely right. The comment about the fire department, Manraj, I think is important, and Marcus, because it occurred to us today that our delivery trucks delivering oil, picking up oil, I'm not sure the truck radius is going to make it into the narrowed down entrance and exit to our site. Just something we're going to have to look at. But I will say that there may be an alternative. There may be a second alternative, not necessarily off of Russell Street, but if we can work with the shopping center owner, and Mr. Hester was on this call earlier for another site, but he's the owner of the Walmart in the center. I spoke to him earlier. That's a very big landscaped area that we may, if we can shave that down some so that cars can enter our Jiffy Lube site a little bit sooner, if you will. That could be an alternative to make that radius better. I don't know if they're open to that, but I'll be curious to see what the fire department says too about their trucks. Just a comment.
We're happy to review those things. And a comment that I would make, Mr. Dunn, is that this is this is only an entrance for these few parking spaces, and it's really only for employees and would rarely get used as an entrance. This is primarily an exit with an entrance and a separate driveway for the Jiffy Lube, which also doesn't have as much continuous traffic, if you will, as certainly we would. And I think with some signage, and we can make it somewhat orderly. But obviously we're open to thoughts and discussion on ways to make this better.
Yeah, I think it may be something you manage with ground, with pavement paint, just to kind of extend. This is in, this is out.
Yes,
you've got plenty of that on your site. You just outside of it, you might, because I could just see people crossing, and someone else thinks you're in my space, and I'm, As we already said, this is on the private property. So if you get a lot of police calls for you know, vehicular damage. That's, I just wanted to go on record as saying it doesn't look ideal to me.
Fair.
If I could just ask one question, I mean, as the planning board, even though this is private property, you do get involved though in, drive aisles and things like that when you're reviewing plans. So it's not like out of your purview just because it's on private property, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Do we address curb cuts in a parking lot?
Those are kind of rare to see, something like this emptying into the parking lot. As far as the curb cuts go, that usually is governed by the state on Route 9 or on one of the side roads by the highway department. And there's typically a certain width. And these are probably within those requirements. Because it's an in and an out going into the other road. I mean, to get a proper view of this, you would actually need to do a traffic study on this intersection and have it designed by or reviewed by a traffic consultant, because it's really beyond our expertise to comment in that kind of detail, at least as far as I can see.
Mark, that's a very poignant question. Across the street at the Home Depot Mall, we have a road with similar situations with Chipotle and Firestone and entrance for the coffee place. But they created a subdivision road, so we did have a little bit more control. And they were cooperating with us so that there would not be, people trying to cut in front of each other. But this is a little different. That's kind of where my question was initially too. So
I could just see myself going in at lunch to get my oil changed and not being able to get out because there's there's so much traffic. But yeah.
Yeah, Starbucks does create a line. Maybe this will take their line away, or and that is off the road. It's kind of like, quote, on private property. But
we do, when we're looking for site plan approval at things, we're primarily concerned with how this is going to fit in to the business mix, and will it be a good neighbor? And that there is the traffic concern there, and probably the more successful they are, the more concerning the traffic will be. But again, it's all going to be contained within the mall. None of it will be on the public way. And again, I think maybe the point about doing a lot of lane marking in paint will hopefully go a long ways towards keeping this under control.
Yeah, I'm seeing that southernmost 5-foot island. I could see you kind of having that kind of bell outwards to separate the two. It's you've got something similar by your office, Mr. Dwyer, with Leon's cars, but I don't think there's anywhere near the traffic.
No, that's something that, yes, we have that situation with the exit from the post office, the entrance and exit into our driveway, and the entrance and exit from Leon's, but his business hours basically don't overlap with ours by and large.
Right.
So those two are rare. And the occasional person coming coming in the exit to the post office is more a problem within the post office property than for us.
Right.
Yeah, Bill, your point is certainly a good one because this is private property, and if it's not working well, they're going to feel the brunt, as opposed to just a couple of 100 yards west of there. Twice I've been going down Route 9, and the cars are jammed up in front of the driveway trying to get into the Chinese immersion school. And the traffic is horrendous. The people, there are probably 50 cars there, and the people are trying to squeeze in between, and it's causing a problem. Well, if they're very busy, they will resolve that problem, I'm sure.
Well, and if they are very busy, it will not spill onto Route 9.
That's
So,
correct.
Yes.
Exactly right.
While we're talking about Route 9, I'd like to make a public service announcement and interrupt everybody. The police department has requested that, if all possible, avoid Route 9, Russell Street, from the intersection of Mill Valley Road to North and South Maple Street for the next couple of days, as they will be scarifying and repaving that section. So if you do travel that way, be prepared for some possibly very serious delays.
Yeah.
So, okay, back with the show.
Good luck with that. I would point out that Severn Brew does typically tend to be their peak hours certainly are in the morning, between 7 and 11. That's when they have their largest shift of employees. That's when they have their so their peak of traffic and whatnot is a little bit different than maybe Jiffy Lube's is, although they probably get a fair number of people who try to duck in and get their oil changed before work and whatnot. But the main plaza itself, some of those businesses don't get going quite as early. Sometimes I will say, but they do later in as the day goes on, they do tend to have less traffic and less of a peak. And as we said, the average wait time is fairly low, so they try not to get and don't anticipate getting queues that would spill out into the main plaza. We have nice long queue line and 2 rows for service, so that we can avoid having lines that spill out and create traffic in other situations other than on our own site. Just as a point of discussion.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just keep looking at your west lot, which is really gratuitous. It's really just there to get to the dumpster, right? I mean,
well, and to have a place for folks that work there to park. That's actually on our site. Wouldn't want to be presumptuous and say that they're going to park in the plaza parking lot. That's not a part of our parcel and under our control.
yeah.
But they are permitted to, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they certainly could. I mean, it's a public parking lot and all of that, but we're not.
No, you wouldn't want your employees to have to cross the ring
neighbor,
road.
we want to show that we have enough parking for our own employees.
No, you wouldn't want your employees to park and then have to pedestriate, if that's a word, across the ring road. That wouldn't be ideal. I was just, you had mentioned that west lot is going to be very low traveled, like coming in, parking, working a shift, and then exiting. It just, I just had a thought, but it's not my place to design it. That might be a spot for pervious pavement, just because it's really low use, but.
We certainly could consider that. And going through conservation, that may be a topic that comes up.
Yeah.
And I would say that we had looked at several layouts within this parcel, and essentially the building is located where it is and is tucked up where it is because of the building setback lines, and because of the taking by the state of the corner. So this lot used to be squared off, and the state DOT had done a taking to take this corner of the parcel, which creates this 40-foot setback, sort of strange line, which forced us to shove the building, this way and over a little bit more, so to get it within the building setback lines, which is this dashed line. That you can see it's somewhat faint, but we are essentially stuffed like right in as tight as we could to all of the building setback lines, in order to make this building work on this site, because of this taking of this corner of the parcel. Without that, we may have come up with a different design.
Question on heating. Are you going to be using electric heat, propane heat? What is your medium for heating on this?
Typically gas.
Okay, so you're gonna have to put propane tanks in. Where's the propane tank going to go?
If there's no on-site gas, I believe they use electric for many of them.
Yeah.
For many of the others.
There's gas that runs along Route 9, but there's a moratorium on connecting to it, so it's either going to be propane or something else.
Okay. I will review that with the guys, and
because if you're going to put propane tanks, we just like to know where the tank's going to go.
Sure.
As with the fire chief.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it seems that we have for the to-do list, getting the peer review addressed, getting fire department review. You still have to go through Conservation Commission review and
Yes.
the sign design. And I could be comfortable, our standard conditions say that we can do an approval subject to approval of other boards if and as required. And sign design, we can do an approval without sign approval subject to further review. In this case, I'm a little hesitant to jump the gun on Conservation Commission review, because I am worried that depending on how they look at this, you might have to start moving stuff around. And then you just be back to us to go over what they moved around. So I don't think we're asking you to move anything, but they might. So I definitely would want to be sure we have the peer review, the fire department review, and probably the Conservation Commission review before we can vote to give you approval. The sign design, we can hold off. We can approve it without approving signs. We've done that before.
Okay.
Mark?
Going back to lighting, I believe you said there was a pole light over by the dumpster. Are there any other, or is everything else off the building? Because I don't remember, did we see any cuts on the fixtures to make sure that they're shielded down lights? I mean, I saw the calculations.
Yeah, they will be shielded downlight, and it's just the one.
Okay.
It's just a one pole light over, over here.
Okay.
That lights up this area, and it spills into the drive aisle lanes. The rest of the lights are down lights that are built right into the canopy. So they only shine directly down.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
How soon do you think you could have this ready, Marcus, for another review? 2 weeks or 1 month?
We are scheduled for conservation on the 13th.
So,
So
Jim,
next week.
the 20th is town election.
Oh, okay, so
Okay.
get that one. So the earliest we could do it would be on June 3rd.
Okay. If you have no meeting in between, then it is.
Yeah,
We'll see you at the next meeting.
we're first and third, but this month, the third Tuesday is town election, so we can't hold public
Fair
hearing.
enough.
State law says we can't hold a public hearing on an election day.
Okay.
It's not our choice. It's what we've been told.
So do we need to keep the public hearing open, or can we close the public
Public hearing is
and
open
then-
until we vote.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's closing it or leaving it open isn't a big deal, because until we make a decision, if we close the public hearing, we kind of set a deadline for ourselves, and it can put both of us in a bind. If you don't have
Okay.
it ready on the 3rd, then we have to give you almost a refusal, and
Okay.
we don't want
Yeah.
that.
That's
And
fair.
keeping it open isn't a big deal.
Okay. Do we need to notice again or anything?
No,
or
No notices. It's a routine continuation, and your single notice, everything is good.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue to June 3rd at 6:45.
You have a motion, a second?
I would second that.
A motion second. Any discussions? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye. I guess Matt's not on.
That's not on.
Zagradnik?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 4-0, one absent. We'll
Yep.
see you on June 3rd.
What we may have to do for you, we may actually have to reopen the public hearing, because Matt Waldrop, who is the 5th member of the board, is not running for the seat. So there'll be a new person here.
Okay.
The statutory requirement is that you need 4 affirmative votes from a 5-member board. And so you have 4 people here, and we will still be here on June 3rd. There'll be a new face here on June 3rd.
Hopefully.
Okay.
But they will not have participated in this session. So then it's sort of a call for you. Do you want to risk getting 4 out of 4? Or do you want to make your pitch again and sort of reopen the public hearing, make your pitch again, and then try your luck with getting 4 out of 5?
Okay. We don't have to decide until then, right?
You don't have to decide until then.
Okay.
If you decide to go forward just with the 4 of us, then the 5th member just will not participate in the vote because he will not have been here. And I say
Sure.
he because there are 2 men who have pulled out papers for this. So
Okay.
he will not have been here for this, so he will not be able to participate in the vote.
It's a technicality that happens once in a great while, but it's happening right now. That's all.
Fair enough.
If you had to reopen it, would they have to re-advertise?
No.
Okay. So it just means I just have to give you my whole pitch again,
Yeah.
or give him my pitch.
Yes.
Okay. I will talk with Mitch and Monraj, and we'll sort that out.
Yeah, I think you can sort of tell from the comments that you received tonight that there is, I don't sense any opposition
Okay.
to the project. So it's probably, it depending on the composition of the board and the hot ticket item of the presentation, that extra vote means a lot to some developers.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, well, I thank you for your time and your attention on this, and I hope you have a great night.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Stop sharing.
Nobody.
So just mechanically, PVPC will be here on the 20th.
Okay.
And Kyle also asked if he could come in on the 17th. Again, remember, historically, we do planning on the first Tuesday and permitting on the third Tuesday. But in this case, we're just inverting it for these. Kyle, I guess, will be back from his family leave by the 17th.
Okay.
So we'll just have someone filling in for him on the 20th.
Okay.
And he has promised us that he will have an invoice for us. They'll have 2 invoices.
Okay.
One for the third quarter, and then by the 17th, he'll have one for the year.
Fine. Okay. Very good. Anybody else have any? The 2 people, Mr. Palmer or Mr. Puttock, are they just here for listening now?
Yes, those are the 2 from
Okay.
7. So
we do have a couple. Speaking of getting some invoices, we forgot we should. I'd like to pay 2 invoices. Our planning board stipend for the first January, February, March as one, and then then April, May, and June as the second one for our stipend. Each one is for $575. So we probably should make 2 motions to do that.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the stipend for the third quarter at $575.
I will second that as I make plans to go to Disneyland on the stipend.
Okay. Going to be real cheap, be a very frugal experience. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Zagrodnik, aye.
Motion passes 401 absent. And the next one for the second quarter for the same amount, Mr. Dwyer.
I'll make a motion to approve the stipend for the fourth quarter at $575.
And I would second that again.
Motion made and seconded.
Get my little
Questions?
mouse ears on.
Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Zagrodnik, aye.
Motion passes 401. Very good. Thank you. And I got a question on, we did receive that contract for Mr. Dunn's crew to, with PVPC to do the what is it, $14,000 or what it is for the extended work, which was very nice. And we need a authorized signature for the town. And I printed out the contract, which is quite encompassing for what we're doing, I guess. And I was hoping, should we wait until Kyle gets on to find out exactly where we're supposed to sign this bill, or do you think we know where we're supposed to sign it?
I think we could probably figure it out.
Okay, because at the bottom of the first page, there is a authorized signature for the contractor. I'm assuming that's us. And then authorized signature for the Commonwealth. That's going to either be PVPC or the granting authority, correct?
That'd be the granting authority.
Okay. And then there is a contractor authorized signature listing another contract page. And this one has like several places for authorized signature name and a title, and then a signature at the bottom. And I'm assuming that is supposed to be me as well. And on the next page, it has signatory's full legal name. Okay. And this one has to be notarized. Is that we're supposed to notarize this, or is that not part of us? Well, that's right.
So did Kyle send me a copy of that too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take a look at it. I can notarize your signature.
Right. I just want to make sure that I'm not sure if this notarizing the sheet, if that is my signature or somebody else's? That's what I'm not clear on.
Yeah, because I think Kyle said that they gave the grant to PVPC, so they might be the contractor.
No.
No, he asked us to sign it. He
No,
wants somebody from the town to be the authorized signature. Because
Oh, okay.
it says proof of authentication of signature. This section must be completed by the contractor authorized signatory in presence of notary. And I'm assuming that is us, authorized
Yes,
signatory?
I think so. So I
Take
don't
a look at it.
remember exactly how the grant, and you know what, we can't actually email Kyle, even though he's out. I think he will be getting checking his emails.
Okay.
But I'll take a look at it too. But meanwhile, for right now, I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to sign the contract.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any discussions? Hearing none? All in favor? Roll call vote.
Should I vote against it just so that we can say we have some opposition?
Only if you want to start some trouble.
Done, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Rodnick, aye.
I don't want to be a rubber stamp, you know.
Motion passes 4-0-1. All right, very good. And there's nobody here for 132 Russell. So I guess we'll continue that to the same June 3rd.
Yeah, that's the site right there on Russell Street, which
Carl,
has,
right in the corner of, what is it?
yeah, it's got a row of trees on the west, at the west end of the south line on, it seems like a funny place. I hope they're not planning to cut those trees down.
Well, that was a, I had the same question, Mark. Are they going to cut the trees down? Are they?
Okay, but since no one's here, I'll make a
not a public
motion.
hearing, right.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue to June 3rd.
I would second that.
Motion and second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. Mr. Dunn?
Done, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Rodnick, aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. Very good. I see Tom got off, but I did look it up. The Attorney General's decision has been postponed to June 1st, 2025. So we should hear something from them on the ADU by either a couple days before or that Monday afterwards. Because the Sunday, June 1st is a Sunday.
Now, Jim, the agreement that seemed to come through the Board of Health for the septic system or hooking up to the sewer seemed fairly comprehensive. Is that the ultimate gospel for an ADU now, or is there still some questions?
From the way we got it, from the various departments that we've heard from, I'm going to say that that's pretty much gospel unless they change Title V. Would you agree with that, Bill?
I think so.
And I read it and I kind of thought it was fairly comprehensive. And you're right, Title V is the overseer.
You know, Title V is an environmental thing, and for the state to come along and start overriding environmental things, I think is going to be somebody's going to be some very upset people for this. So I'm guessing that is unlikely to make any big changes. You know, they may change something like I know about the septic tank. The way they describe the septic tank, that is a fairly complicated little gizmo. The way it's described in Title V, for various things. I mean, they could probably change the septic tank to maybe make it a bit less expensive, but you know, it's a hunk of concrete that has some chambers in it. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but that thing isn't going to make changing that design isn't going to make or break an ADU. It's the replacement of that tank that is the expensive part, whether it's a single chamber, dual chamber, or whatever it has, and the leach field associated with it that makes the cost pretty pricey. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
And while we're on it, I think we put it off till today as a further discussion. Is an ADU a accessory dwelling or is it not?
Accessory structure.
Accessory structure.
Yeah.
Accessory structure.
I
The way we define an ADU, it is not an accessory structure. We define an accessory structure as incidental to the main use of the property.
No, it's a second home on the property, so it's a primary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a secondary home.
Right.
But it's still a home. It's
Right.
it's a habitable dwelling.
Right.
It's just a smaller one.
Yep. So I agree that the rules that apply to dwellings should apply to ADUs as well. There's a reason for that.
It's
You
not
want
a
to
barn,
have
it's
that.
not a garage, it's not a shed. Yeah.
You know, I just use my place as an example. I've got an accessory shed in my backyard that's probably 15 foot from the rear property, but plenty of room from the sides. And for somebody to move into that, that's pretty close to the neighbor behind me. And that would be unfair to the neighbor to be that close.
Yeah.
I mean, originally I thought we thought about this that I could, I mean, not that I would ever want to, but it could become an accessory structure, even though it's 1,000 square feet. So I could obviously cut it down in size. However, it would not be fair to an abutter to do something like that. So,
And that might be something that lends itself to a variance if there is an existing structure which is close to the property line for whatever reason. I wouldn't want to see anyone building at 15 feet or 10 feet or whatever, but if there's something that is existing, maybe a case could be made that the topography of the lot would support it. I have using my yard as an example, I have a very nice freestanding barn that probably is closer to the sideline than definitely 40 feet. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's 15 feet from the sideline or not. But the other side is open fields. They can't be developed. So that might be a grounds for seeking a variance.
Right.
But as a general rule, I think we would say that housing setbacks will apply to ADUs because they are dwellings.
okay. I'm in agreement with that one.
As am I.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay. I don't think we want to make a vote on that right now because we may have to wiggle room at some future date, but at least as long as we are in agreement. Or do you think we should have a vote on that, Mr. Dwyer?
You know, maybe have more conversation with Randy Iser since it's his question in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. Randy wasn't. He's not. He's away someplace, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I have nothing else.
I have nothing else. I just want to make sure of that. Well, we got planning board pay, public service announcements about the Route 9 construction. Just for everybody's information that this should be the final year for the Route 9 reconstruction from what we were told 7 years ago.
Then they can redo the bridge again or something.
Well, they've been taking some borings this past month or month and a half on the bridge over the Fort River on Bay Road. And I don't know if they're going to take the entire bridge out and replace it, which is supposed to be like a 16 or 18 month project, or if they're going to do it one lane at a time. I'm going to try to find out because it's going to put an awful lot of people inconvenienced if the whole bridge is removed. That means my trip in the center of Hadley is going to go from 1.5 miles to almost 5 miles.
You'll have to go by Cooks or something.
I got to go all the way back around through Bay Road down South Maple Street down Route 9, and that's, I mean, I'm by no means alone. There's a lot of people that's going to inconvenience.
Yeah.
There is also a project that is underway to replace the Route 47 culvert in front of my house.
Oh, nice.
That has qualified for the small bridge replacement program that the state offers. It, because of the span, the bridge, the Fort River Bridge, because of its span, qualifies for matching federal dollars.
Okay.
The culvert, because of its span, it does not meet the federal definition of a bridge. So it does not qualify for Fed money, but there is a state program, and Scott McCarthy from the DPW has obtained a grant commitment. They've done survey work, they've done some boring out here, and no idea of when that might happen, and no idea of what they're going to do, whether they're going to try to take the whole thing out and put in a concrete culvert of some sort. If you remember the road out there, it's like a railroad embankment.
Yeah.
It drops off dramatically on each side. So you don't, I don't know if they can keep it open.
Well, it'd be nice if they could even put something temporary on the old bridge so you could go around it easily.
Yeah.
But
I did.
Oh,
I did the math on it too. If I have to, I'm the one most affected by it because I'm right at the bridge. I would have to go up to Plumtree, over to South Plain, down to Shattuck to get down to the center of town.
Yeah.
So that's an extra like 4 miles.
Well, I don't think flying cars are that far away. You know, they have some prototypes.
I do have a pilot's license.
You still have it?
I still have it. I can't exercise it. I'm not current, but I still have the license.
Well, Joe could be a co-pilot.
I am no longer current, and I don't take the annual physical either. So,
okay.
And that was one of the dumb, no, not a dumb move, but it was a move that once I started practice, had 2 kids, I said, I don't think I'm going to risk anything like that anymore. So
with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn at 7:50.
all right.
I will second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Dunn, aye.
Wire aye.
Samaski, aye.
Roddick, aye.